Well, hello there. If you remember earlier this year, I made a video about my winter plans, and one of my plans was to review some homesteading magazines that I picked up, and I showed those in another video. And here we are going into March, and I still haven't reviewed them. I've been pretty busy doing some side projects, and I finally got the chance to read one of the magazines that I picked up. This is The New Pioneer, and this is basically, it's a homesteading magazine. It's about living simply, growing your own food, stuff like that, and I'm really into that. So I read the entire magazine, and I wanted to share one of the articles with you that really caught my attention and really stood out to me the most, that kind of I connected with, and it's this article right here. This is called 2.5 Acre Makeover, and this is really awesome. The tagline is, "The Ponts made their rural dream come true the old-fashioned way, using can-do spirit, hard work, and the ability to live better with less." And I immediately connected with that, and I really connected with the photo here. This is a beautiful log home, and this article kind of tells the story of how they came to acquire this place and build it on their own using limited resources. And there are the Ponts right there, so you can see what they look like, and there's another photo down at the bottom of the inside of the house. So this is a really cool article, and I'll take a couple minutes here and I'll share the main points of this with you. As I mentioned, this story is all about Terry Pont and Boise Pont, their husband and wife, and the story starts with Terry in 1975. She was working as a fire spotter for the United States Forest Service and living with friends, and she was looking for a place of her own, like possibly a place to rent, and her friend told her about a place, and she went to look at it, and it just so happened to be for sale. So she ended up buying it, and it was this property, but it didn't look like that when she originally bought it. The article goes on to say that it was just an unimproved cabin. There was no septic, there was no electricity, it was just completely off the grid. And Terry took on the challenge, and she decided that she was going to live in a shack that was near an abandoned cabin on the property, and live in that while she fixed the other place up. And while she was doing that, some friends from her job started helping her, and one of those people happened to be her boss and her future husband, and that was Boise. So they ended up meeting, and they spent a lot of time together working on the cabin, and they ended up getting married. Terry and Boise ended up living in the little shack. They left the Forest Service, and they were living on about $1,200 a year. And their friends came over and helped them tear off the roof on the old cabin, and they put a new one on, and that's when they ended up finally moving in. At the cabin they had an outhouse, which it was completely off the grid. They got by planting a garden, and they raised rabbits, which they sold at a local market, and they ate game that Boise ended up catching or killing for food. So they were out there by themselves, and it was, I think, kind of cool. Boise goes on to say in the article that when he needed extra money, he would just work for a neighbor of theirs who was a gunsmith, and that's how they ended up getting by. The next step after moving into the cabin was to work on the water system. They ended up digging the well a little bit deeper, and then they also put a tower out back that would also bring water into their cabin. Eventually the couple had children, and they upgraded to a washing machine, and they expanded the cabin to accommodate for their larger family. In 1996, Boise started finally building a newer log cabin on the property, and he would build that on the weekends and any time that he had free time. And that was when they finally got electricity brought in, so he could use power tools to make the process a good bit quicker, and then also because the kids needed computers for their schoolwork. So they started getting more and more onto the grid as time went by, but pretty much out of necessity, not really because they wanted to. As he finished the electricity, they worked on plumbing, and after about 5 years of doing all the work, they finally moved in, and they considered it livable at that point. Boise said he taught himself how to do everything to build the house, and to learn things he would go to the local library and look things up there. So that is life without internet. You have to actually go somewhere to learn how to do something. You can't just type it in. Even now, it's 2014, they started this in 1996, and they still say they have some finishing work to do, so this isn't like an overnight thing. They have spent a lot of time working on their dream home. At the end of the article, they asked Terry what advice she would give people who want to buy rural land but are on a limited budget. And her answer was that she would tell anyone to go for it. It's a natural way to live, it's rewarding to know that you can live off the grid, and it gives you a sense of security knowing that you can take care of yourself if something were to happen. I think that's a really good takeaway from this, is just to live as simply as possible. And you can be like these people. I mean, you don't have to do it at the extreme of living without electricity and stuff like that, but I think being out of debt is a good place to start. and just do as much as you can on your own and not rely on other people. And I think that is a recipe for success. At least grow your own food, which they do there. You can see that. They have their own water supply, so if something were to happen with water, they're fine. They heat with wood, so you don't have to worry about any kind of electricity problems. Although they do have electricity, they can, I'm sure, get by without it again, since they did for all those other years. And I just think this was a great article and a great example of what the New Pioneer is all about. It's just about being as self-sufficient as possible, and that really means a lot to me. So I hope this review did this article justice. I don't think it was very good, but I think maybe you got the gist of what the article was about, and maybe if you're interested in this magazine, I could do some more articles from this, because there were quite a few that I was really interested in, especially the cover story here. These people are amazing. I was super impressed by them, but I really connected with this article the most. So I thank you for watching, and I will definitely be reviewing my other magazine, which is Countryside Magazine. I don't think this one's quite as good, but this is still a nice homesteading magazine and probably one of the best out there, but it pales in comparison to Pioneer. I will do a video of this, just to put it out there. I'll do a video of this 1 week from today, just with my favorite article, just so I get it done, because I'm putting it out there. So thanks for watching, and I'll have more videos up here soon.